My name is Gwen Reid, and I was born and raised here where we are today in Mosquito. My great-great-grandfather came here in 1861, and some of my family has lived here ever since. My little grandchildren are seventh generation within a mile of where my family settled. Several years ago, I attended an event at the El Dorado County Fairgrounds, and it was entitled Cowboys and Cornbread, and I had wanted to go for years. I just really hadn't had the opportunity. And they had people who recited poetry and sang songs, and they had a couple of cowboy poets. And cowboy poetry is something totally different than anything else. It's telling a story that really means something to you, and sometimes it's done with cadence, and sometimes it just sounds like somebody telling a story. And 90% of the time it's from working people, and it's from people who have experienced the things that they talk about. Well, having watched that, I thought, you know, I could do that. I'm going to do that. When I think back and wonder what really inspired me or ever made me think that I could write or perform or do any of these things, I realized that I was extremely blessed to have been the great-granddaughter of a woman who was a teacher. And from the time I was big enough to sit up, she would sit me on her lap and read to me. She read me all the classics, and they were stories that I never forgot and that I absolutely loved. And I think she instilled the love of the written word in me at a very young age. And then later, when I was probably, I don't know, somewhere between 10 and 12, my parents had divorced, and I had gone to the Bay Area to spend the summer with my dad and his family, and my stepmother enrolled me in summer school. Well, I had never been exposed to a big school. I had always gone to a one-room schoolhouse with just 10 or 12 or 14 kids and one, maybe two teachers. And I'd never been exposed to a really big school and to everything that goes on there. And she had enrolled me in a creative writing class. And it was fun. It was really fun. And along through that class, we wrote essays and we did different projects and things. And after I had finished that and had come home, we received word that that teacher in that class had submitted one of my essays to a children's magazine, and it had been accepted and published. I was never fortunate enough to even see the article published, but I was thrilled to know that I had written something that was going to be shared with that many people, and that I was capable of doing that. It was a really exciting thing for me as a kid. One of the things that that teacher really stressed in that class was for us to be aware of our surroundings and to really pay attention to our surroundings, to really look at things and make an imprint in our mind, in our memory of what those things were like, to look at a flower or to look at a tree, but to really see that flower or that tree or that person, an individual, and to really recall what stood out about that. So I started doing cowboy poetry, and the very first event that I attended was that event the following year at the El Dorado County Fairgrounds. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the 49ers. There is a silent sentinel that stands in a ravine. It's a witness to our history and the things that it has seen. It can't talk, but if it could, it'd spin for us a tale of the men called 49ers that would trudge and ride and sail to reach this place where gold was found and live to tell the tale. So it kind of got me on the road to really doing that seriously. And I'm sure that I can thank those teachers for that, for instilling that in me, and for giving me the courage and the confidence, even though I was in my 60s, to feel like, you know what, I can do that. I can do that.